very dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the pilgrims were good and Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody.
There comes a moment in every generation when the world grows too dark for passive faith and too wicked for a silent church. A moment when God looks for a people with enough holy imagination to dream beyond the chains, preach beyond the pain, and believe beyond the empire's shadow. This is that moment. The prophets are calling, not the soft ones, not the sanitized ones, but the wild, untamed voices who carry fire in their bones and revolution in their tongues. Isaiah with visions too large for empires. Amos with justice roaring like a river. Jeremiah weeping because the people forgot. Micah demanding we do justice before we dare shout hallelujah. Jesus reading Luke's scroll like a declaration of war against every system that crushes the poor. This is the lineage of the prophetic imagination. A vision that refuses to bow, refuses to break, refuses to believe that oppression has the final word. But the church today has forgotten how to dream. We've traded prophecy for programs, revelation for respectability, kingdom vision for corporate branding, and spiritual power for political permission. We've convinced ourselves that safety is holy and silence is wisdom when God is calling us to be dangerous for righteousness' sake. But hear me, a church without imagination is a church without power. A faith without vision is a faith without victory. A gospel without liberation is a gospel without Jesus.
Hey, family.
It's time to resurrect the imagination of the ancestors who saw promised lands from plantations, who saw freedom from cotton fields, who saw justice through the smoke of burning crosses. They dreamed impossible dreams and made them real with blood, courage, and conviction. Now it's our turn to imagine schools where black history is honored, not outlawed. To imagine neighborhoods.
All right, y'all know what to do.
Not survive. To imagine a justice system that doesn't feast
Rep
on
your
black
city,
bodies.
rep your
To imagine
town.
a church that speaks truth with a thunder that shakes the nation. This is prophetic imagination. The gift God gives to those bold enough to believe that liberation is not only possible, it's required. So let the prophets rise again. Let the dreamers dream again. Let the church see again. Let justice walk again. Let freedom speak again. Because God is not done.
Neither are we.
Neither are we.
All right. Let's get it. Rep your city, rep your town. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. Good morning, family.
The essence of life is growth, but the essence of growth is change.
Like, share, subscribe. Rep your city, rep your town.
Your life will never change until you get disgusted.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must learn from the past, plan for the future, and live for today. For it is your daily routine that determines your success or failure in life. It's a choice you have made up to the point that when you worth of doing enough is simply good enough. You only get out what you put in. So
Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper.
Come on. Reach a little higher.
Go a little further.
Don't stop. Come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. So you got of trying to beat the system. Always trust
The quick progress.
There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta break the routine of allowing others to get into your head and control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about to positive,
Let me see what I got going on here.
but don't let your haters push you
Oh,
down.
that
Let
ain't
your
gonna
haters
work.
push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes, so you gotta keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on.
Dig a little deeper.
Come on. Yeah. Go a little further. Go a little further. Come on.
Don't stop.
Come on. Yeah. Reach a little higher. Reach a little higher.
Dig a little deeper.
Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Come on. Come on. Come on. You gotta understand the greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Show you your future.
You're just a step away. You're just a step away. Don't ever give up. Come on. You're just a step away. You're almost there. Come on. You gotta push yourself beyond your limitations. You see, there's no mountain too high.
Keep on
Too
moving.
low. You can go where you wanna go. It's all in the power of your imagination. If you can see the invisible, you can do the impossible. So stretch yourself. Take yourself to the next level. Come on, come on, come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. Come on, yeah.
There's a blessing waiting on you right around the corner. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II, and we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. 8 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. I want to thank Elder Rick Robinson, host of our Monday morning program, giving you that good inspirational gospel music to start out your week. And it's been a good weekend. Juneteenth weekend, Father's Day weekend, celebrating the freedom of black people. MAGA says they're the ones who freed the slaves, but then they're also the ones who are opposed to us celebrating the freedom of the slaves. Isn't that something? But anyway, that ain't the subject. I just thought I'd bring that out. So I had a great time in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It was good to be there. Home of my Pittsburgh Steelers. And so it was good. I was Grand Marshal for their annual Juneteenth Jubilee parade, and it was a great event. There, shared those honors as Grand Marshal with my sister, Attorney Nikema Levy Armstrong. She's the national director and founder of the Target boycott out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So got to spend some time with her husband, her family. And shout out goes to B. Marshall, the organizer of a great event. Pulled in over 75,000 people for a whole weekend of concerts and cultural festivities, culminating in the parade on Saturday, doing it big for Juneteenth in Pittsburgh, and I was glad to be a part of it. I got an opportunity to spend some time with Austin Davis, first black lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania, with Mayor O'Connor and other great leaders, Tim Stevens and others out of the Pittsburgh area. So shout out to Pittsburgh, PA. Well, folk have been steadily here in the field coming for organizations that are doing the best they can with what they have to impact the lives of our youth in a positive way. But the folks who don't run any programs or who run similar programs who may be in competition for funding got so much to say about what somebody else ain't doing that they should be doing, but at the same time, they're not doing what they say somebody else should be doing. Isn't it always interesting that the people who have the answers, you ain't got the answers, Sway. The people who got the answers, the people who know what everybody should be doing, are always the people that ain't doing what they say that other people should be doing. Arsenio Hall used to say, things that make you go, You ever try to figure that out? Wait. So if you got the answer, Sway, and you know what everybody should be doing, why you ain't doing it? They don't ever have an answer to that. So, now that everybody got a cell phone and everybody got a Facebook account or an Instagram or a TikTok or YouTube or whatever, everybody is an activist. Yeah, because they now have mistaken posting videos and talking smack about other people and what they are not doing is activism. That's speaking truth to power. That's holding them accountable. How you holding people accountable who ain't even watching your videos? or if they do, they're laughing at them. But this is the new wave of activism. You holding people accountable by doing Facebook videos to talk smack about them. Shout out to Jada Waters, Dr. Jada Waters, Executive Director of Springfield Girls Club Family Center. Had a very successful event the other day. Wall-to-wall young people in there. Wall-to-wall young people I saw in there. And, there were people who were coming for her about her having a fish fry, about how fish fries ain't stopping no gun violence. Whatever. And I thought she answered back in a very eloquent way with letting people know that creating a safe space for children and their families is prevention. Because every young person that are in those safe spaces are not on the streets being victimized by violence or being the victimizer of violence. It's not the job of youth prevention programs to be on the street taking guns out of the hands of your kids that you couldn't even take the gun out of the hands of because you didn't raise them right in the first place. And so every time there's a shooting, somebody's doing a video blaming some community organization for the shooting. They're not police officers. Their job is not to go out on the street and confiscate guns or to get in the middle of gang activity. But what it is to provide a place that will keep other young people from getting involved. Understand the difference between people's mission. But everybody got something to say on Facebook, bumping off at the gums. Every time there's a shooting, it's somebody's, yeah, I'm going to get on my platform and I'm going to hold them accountable. Anyway, we're going to talk about the difference between activists and actorvists. See, I came up in the day where there wasn't no Facebook. There wasn't no social media. You couldn't do a live every time something happened. You had to do real activism, real work. Now people are mistaken. They talk smack on Facebook, so, they doing work. No, no. Tell somebody Bishop is on the air, 413-736-2781, 413-736-2781. Stick and stay right here. I borrowed that from Fred Flash. We'll be right back.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One who's seen a lot of pain and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a price. Who cheated on, stole from and hit. But it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. Don't go down. I rose above that nonsense and made a liar of the devil. All right now. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love. I kicked his butt with divine power from above. All things through Christ, which strengthens me, and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me, he came to bring. Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful is me.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of WTCC Radio or Springfield Technical Community College.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to each and every one of you who have, whether it's on radio or on WTCC FM, on TuneIn, on iHeart, whether you're in with us on our various social media. Welcome to another edition of the spoken word. Congrats out to those who organized our local Juneteenth events here. I understand they had some great events right here locally. So shout out to you all for forefront and providing something for community involvement when it comes to commemorating our freedom. 413-736-2781 is the number here. If you want to chime in on the conversation that we're embarking on today, as I said, I want to address this phenomenon that has become, well, increasingly common in our community. I talked about it before in this program, but sometimes you deal with stuff more than once. But it's the rise of what I call actorvism. Somebody ought to put that in the comment section. Actorvism. Not activism. Actorvism. We know what an activist is, problems, who organizes people, who develops solutions, who advocates for change, does the hard work of community building. Much different than an actorvist, because an actorvist is someone who cosplays as an activist. They perform like they're doing activism, and their primary audience is social media. Their primary tool is criticizing everybody else. Not saying, this is what I'm doing, this is what we're doing. They're not able to say, like when last year when we were organizing around elections, and we literally a national campaign, North Carolina, in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Michigan, in Georgia, in about 6 of the swing states, had full coalitions, and we raised money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to fund those coalitions to do the hard work of voter education and mobilization. We didn't beat our chest about it. We just did the work. The difference is that the work that people are actually doing. Their primary contribution is commentary. Their primary tool is criticism. And so basically social media has provided where visibility is often mistaken for impact. Yeah, mistaken for impact. And some people believe because they have a Facebook page and they got a camera phone and somehow have become community leaders. So they spend hours criticizing the work of others. Yet, when you look for evidence of what they do themselves, what they have built, organized, or led, little to be found. Very little to be found. And one of the reasons community-based organizations have become convenient targets. And note, if you will, they're not going after the organizations that's getting real money, because it's not grassroots organizations that are getting the real money. But they don't say anything about the organizations that's getting the real money. And these black-run community organizations have become convenient targets is because people fundamentally what the organizations are designed to do. A youth development organization is not a police department. Let's get this clear. Let's make it clear for those who keep taking shots at the Shannon partners, or whoever that they perceive. Reading is fundamental. And I talked about this on my show a couple of months ago, and I had several of the Shannon partners on the show. If you read the RFP, if you read what the Shannon grant is for, there are 5 components to it. Suppression is one component. Okay? So every organization that gets funded through Shannon is not funded. But see, we take on these Trumpian tactics where if we just repeat the lie over and over again, people buy into it. Because, people who are less educated than you are about things, they just, jump on the bandwagon and they start repeating stuff. gun violence prevention. No, they are not. No, they are not. Okay? And see, people, like I said, they have a fundamental misunderstanding of what the organizations are supposed to do. A youth development organization, once again, is not law enforcement. A mentoring program is not an after-school program is not a judge and a probation officer or a parent. These organizations are designed to provide opportunities and guidance and support and positive alternatives. They won't get involved in violence, in gunplay, etc. And the reason you know they're effective is because you can point to the young people who did not go down the wrong path because they were exposed to these programs. And no community-based organization, not in the family center, Project Family Services, not the South End Community Center, can control every decision a young person makes, especially if that young person has never participated in their programs and never established a relationship with their staff. And what I find particularly frustrating is that these critics focus exclusively on what's happening on the streets and chalking it up as failures while ignoring the successes. So every time there's a shooting, they jump on social media and they point their fingers and ask why. We got all this money, why does violence still exist? That is the dumbest analysis that I've ever heard in my life. That if you take $500,000 and divvy it up among several community-based organizations, that's supposed to stop violence. And if there's a violent act, you blame it on the organizations that shared $500,000. That's insane. That's insane. Violence is always going to exist. But how many young people did not go down that path? I've lost track through the years. Our programs were not even funded. And I've lost track of the number of young people who are now grown who have said to me, Bishop, we were in y'all after school program. And because of what I learned there, because of what I was exposed to there, I made this decision. I became this type of a professional. I've lost track of the number of young people who have been positively affected by coming through a summer program or an after-school program, and I can only imagine the stories of the girls' clubs and the South End community centers and the other organizations have of young people who say the exact same thing. How many have avoided violence because of these programs? How many students graduated because somebody mentored out of gangs because they found positive support? How many families received assistance during difficult times and found stability because a community organization stepped in? And see, those are the stories that never make the headlines, but they matter even more. Because this conversation forces us to deal honestly with the issue of responsibility. Community violence, let me say this clearly so you understand it. Community violence is a of one or two or three or four organizations or some group of people. First of all, parents have responsibilities. Families have responsibilities. Schools have responsibilities. Faith communities have responsibilities. Government has responsibility. Neighborhoods have responsibility. To blame Dan and money exclusively every time there's an act of violence is not only unfair, it's ignorant. And it ignores the complexity of the problem itself. Oh, there was a shooting on grams. That's ignorance. Ignorance. And now let me be clear. Because accountability is important. And organizations that receive public funds need to be transparent. Their outcomes should be evaluated. And that's why they, in their reports and their numbers are looked at, and the youth that are involved in the program are looked at. And all of these types of evaluations are being done all of the time. Their finances are being reviewed. Their work is being examined. But accountability is based on facts and evidence, not Facebook. Videos of people bumping their gums who don't know what's happening on the inside of these organizations. Okay? There's a difference between legitimate oversight and performative outrage. And what concerns me is people who confuse criticism with contribution. They've convinced themselves that making videos is the same thing as making a difference. And they believe that because they can identify problems that they somehow are doing something. So I'm gonna jump in my car and get on Facebook Live, and I'm gonna criticize your community event, even though I don't have anything to do with your community event. I don't know how it got funded, how it got organized, who it is reaching out to, who it is impacting. I'm gonna talk smack because I don't think whatever. That's easy. That's easy. It's easy. It's always easy to criticize what other folks are doing or are not doing. The difficult part is you doing something yourself. And that's what I need to know. What are you doing? Good morning, caller. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Damaris M. It was to bring a person that he's looking on Facebook, an actor that he wants to relocate Massachusetts, right? That he wants to be friends with Mark Covertier, a teacher, right? That his email is MAR.
Wait. Ho. Why are you giving somebody's personal information?
That's what he wants. He wants to be contacted by his email.
Wants to be Wait. Time out. This is a radio show. I don't think this is the proper venue for you, whatever you're doing. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the topic of discussion. So I'm going to have to let you go. Thank you for your call. 413-736-2781. Oh, Lord, help us, Jesus. Help us, Lord. Help us, Lord. 413-736-2781. All right, let's regroup. Let's regroup. Good morning. I didn't shout out y'all cities, did I? I see Drew City. I see Atlanta in here. I see Chicago in here. I see Conroe, Texas up in the building. Cincinnati's in here. St. Louis is in here. Kansas City is in here. Sorry, I didn't shout y'all out. New York is in here. Brooklyn is in here. Long Island is in here. Somebody asked me what grant have I written? Plenty over the last 25 years. What program have I started? Plenty over the last 25 years. What program have you started? How about that? So once again, I see the DMV is up in here. I see my daughter from the Chi is up in here. Good morning. Good morning. Right. It's easier to blame than to build. I'm going to put that comment up here. Let me highlight that. Yeah. It's easier to blame than to build. Let me get that up there. There we go. And I think an important question of this entire discussion hinges on that statement about it being easier to blame than to build is, what are you building? What are you building? It's always the folks who ain't never started an organization that's pointing the finger at what your organization, who ain't never built anything, never run anything. That all, have you ever noticed that? You ever notice in our community, it's always the people who have never done something that are the experts at what they have never done. It's kind of like, I've been a pastor over 30 years, and through the years, I've always noticed that it's always the people who have never pastored that know what you should do as a pastor. It's amazing how that works. People who have never been a teacher that are experts at what you do as a teacher. And it's always never started a nonprofit organization, never been the executive director of an organization, never run a program at an organization, that are the experts at what organizations that run youth programming should do, even though they have zero experience ever running anything. You ever notice how that works? How the folk who have no experience doing something are the experts at how that something should be done. It's wild how that works. 413-736-2781. Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Good morning, Ontario. Yeah, so what are you building? Somebody put that question in the comment section. What are you building? Okay, not what are you posting? Okay, not what are you complaining about? Not who are you blaming? What are you building? What are you building? Who are you mentoring? Who are you helping? What programs are you supporting? What resources are you bringing to the table, to the community? What solutions are you offering? Because anybody can stand there and point at a fire. And anybody can criticize the firefighters. Anybody can tell is who's carrying water? Who's helping to put the fire out? Not who's standing there talking about, look at that fire burning. They ain't doing enough to stop that fire. Churches ain't doing enough to stop the fire. Shannon Grant partners need to be stopping the fire. But you ain't carrying a bucket of water nowhere. Our community doesn't need more spectators. It's got plenty of them. It doesn't need more commentators. It doesn't need people sitting around waiting for the next tragedy to happen so they can go live on social media and assign who's to blame. What our community needs are people that are willing to roll up their sleeves and do some work. It needs some mentors, some volunteers, some advocates, some coaches, some parents, some pastors, some teachers, some community builders. Because at the end of the day, our children are not going to be saved by the loudest voices on Facebook. They're going to be helped by the people who show up consistently, by the people who invest their time, who share their resources, who dedicate themselves to creating opportunities for them. Real activism is not measured by how loudly you criticize, but how faithfully you actually contribute something. Because anybody can be loud. Right. Facebook is not a community development strategy. Absolutely right. So you know, I want to leave you with a simple challenge. And that simple challenge is before you criticize the work of others, ask yourself, what am I doing to make the community better? What am I doing? Because real change comes from people who build, not from people who blame. Oh, that was bars right there. Let me put that one in there. Yeah. I'm here spitting hot fire. Real change comes from people who build, not from people who blame. Yeah, somebody put that in the comment section and put hashtag bars. B-A-R-Z. All right. That'll preach right there. But never fails though. Never fails. Every time there's a shooting in our city, every time there's any level of violence that erupts in the neighborhood, every time a tragedy captures public attention, it's this same old played out pattern that emerges. Same old folks run to Facebook, turn their cameras on, go live, and start assigning blame. And their targets are always community-based organizations and black agencies that are already doing the difficult work of serving our youth and families under challenging circumstances and limited resources. It's low-hanging fruit. Oh, it's tiring. I've seen it for 40 years. You know, every time something happens, you're going to blame the community-based organizations. You're going to blame the preachers and the churches. It's the same old tired. It's the same song from the same song sheet. I can predict what y'all going to do. I can predict what you're going to do. What's going to happen? Something's going to happen. And then y'all going to jump on social media, set your little camera up, and then y'all going to blame the girls club and the family center and the Dunbar and the churches and the pastors and the bishops and the NAACP and the Urban League. It's the same song. It's the same tired song over and over again. It's the same low-hanging fruit. Whenever something happens or don't happen or whatever happens, let's blame the NAACP, the Urban League, any other civil rights organizations. Let's blame the churches and the pastors and the preachers, and let's blame the black-run community-based organizations. Don't y'all get tired of playing that same playlist over and over and over and over again? It's the same playlist, y'all. Same play by these self-appointed critics, these actorvists, performing activism for an audience, and very small audiences at that. But they do little work to address the problems that they spend so much time discussing. My thing is, why spend so much time discussing a problem that you ain't doing nothing about? That's when you know somebody is suspect. When they're consistently railing on an issue that they're doing nothing about. I talk about the gutting of the Voting Rights Act and the suppression of our voting rights. But I got a national coalition around the nation that are doing voter registration, voter education, voter mobilization. We've been working our butts off. See, you can talk about stuff when you're doing something. But these lazy, shiftless Negroes don't do nothing but talk about stuff and complain about stuff, but do nothing about it. And there's a difference between activism and performance. Real activists organize, they mentor, they advocate, they build coalitions. I was in Pittsburgh building coalitions, meeting with Austin Davis, the Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania, meeting with the Mayor of Pittsburgh, met with the National Council of Negro Women, met with the NAACP branch down there, met with the National Pan-Hellenic Council, continuing to build coalitions across the nation to do real work, because that's what real activists do. And you know what? We did it with no cameras. Nobody was live on Facebook. Real activists organize, they mentor, they advocate, they build coalitions. When Trump's DOJ wanted to come to Massachusetts and demand our voter rolls, our private information, our Social Security, that they should not have the scenes. We got involved in litigation. As vice president of the New England Area Conference, I was part of a lawsuit against the Department of Justice. And you know what we did? We stopped them from getting access to that information. Judge ruled in our favor. I didn't do a press conference. Didn't brag and boast and talk about it. We just do the work. Because that's what real activists do. They create. They raise resources. They engage communities. They spend countless hours working behind the scenes to improve conditions for the people. They're buying groceries behind the scenes. We've got people who are behind the scenes who never want the limelight, who are serving our seasoned community, the older ones, those in the shadows of life, serving our children. But actorvists spend their time criticizing the work of others in front of a camera while offering little evidence of any meaningful contributions of their own. Because that's why only thing you ever see is themselves complaining. You don't ever see them posting about them doing work. One of the most troubling aspects of this whole phenomenon is the constant effort to talk out of both sides mouth. And this is what kills me. Watch it, y'all. They talk about how community resources need to go to the black community. But then when those resources go to the black community, they complain about the organizations that receive the resources. Because see, it wasn't about the resources going to the black community. It was about the resources going to who I want it to go to in the black community. Because you can't have it both ways. You can't say give resources to the black community, and then when resources go to the black community, because you don't like the people who got it, then you complain about those organizations. That's just complete hypocrisy. Complete, and the logic behind this form of criticism makes absolutely no sense. Makes no sense. None of this makes any sense. How can an organization be blamed for the actions of a young person who never participated in its program, never entered its building, never established a relationship with its staff? How can the workers at the girls' club be blamed, be held responsible for the choices of people that they never met? I mean, come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. We got to do better. We got to do better. Here's the truth, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies. Prevention is difficult to measure because the greatest successes are often invisible. Let me say that one more time. Prevention is difficult to measure because the greatest successes are often invisible. You can count failures because they generate headlines. Shootings generate headlines. But youth that avoided gangs, drugs, violence, bad behavior, and became successful don't get counted because there's no headlines written about them. So we never count the crisis that never occurred because somebody intervened early enough to change a young person's trajectory. You can't count a crisis that never happened because a young person went in a different direction. And here's the reality. If these community organizations that keep getting shade thrown at them disappear tomorrow, violence wouldn't decrease. It would more than likely increase. Safe spaces would disappear. Mentors would disappear. Educational opportunities would disappear. Support systems would disappear. Thousands of young people would lose access to resources that help keep them on a positive path. That's the reality. That's the reality of it. And so once again, I got to get out of here. But the question is, what are you building? Somebody put that in the comment section one more time. What are you building? Because anybody can point to a problem, can criticize, can go live on Facebook after a tragedy to assign blame. But real leadership requires something more. It requires some sacrifice, some commitment, some action. Yeah. Because the future of our community isn't going to be secured by those who just point and blame. But it's going to be secured by those who dedicate themselves to building and making things right. And that's the difference. So watch what you see on social media. Most of that's not activism. It's actorvism. Yeah. All right. I got to get out the way. There's some fish and grits that got my name on it. and I need to get to it. Looking for a place to worship? Check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Bishop Talbert Swan Way. The Brick Church right there at Six Corners. Prayer by Changing Lives today. 10 a.m. is Sunday school. 11 a.m. is morning worship celebration. Wednesday at 30p study. Saturday at 9 a.m. Brattleboro, Vermont location, 29 South Street. Pastor Mike and Lady Lisa Jones would love to have you there with them as well. Coming up next is Mrs. Cynthia Butler with mid-morning jazz and great black music. So you want to keep it locked right here on 90.7 WTCC. You don't want to touch that dial. Remember, on Friday morning at 9 a.m., it is the Black Love Experience. Right here, same time, same bat station. It's always my pleasure to be with you all. And until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you. Peace and blessings.
They told us to be quiet, told us to hush our mouths and bow our heads while America beats again. Church to stay in its place, sing your hymns, shout your shouts, but don't you dare speak truth to power. But I hear the bones of the prophets rattling. I hear Amos pounding on the doors of sanctuaries gone soft. I hear Harriet's footsteps in the rafters, and I hear Jesus The Jesus of Nazareth, not the mascot.